Look at these majestic mountain ranges. A structure stands tall, defying every limit of human fear. There are no fences here and no insurance for the work you do. This isn't just a construction site, it's a war between man and the wild. These lands remain almost untouched on the world map.
Push it forward. Watch your step.
So why do they risk their lives on these cliffs? What makes this the most dangerous site of the entire journey? Today, join us as we explore impossible places where the line between life and death is as thin as a breath. Moki Dugway. If Highway 163 in Utah offers a romantic cinematic feel, then Moki Dugway is a gritty, dramatic rock soundtrack. It was built in 1958 by Texas Zinc Minerals. The objective was to transport uranium ore from the Cedar Mesa mine to the processing plant in Mexican Hat. They needed to connect the flat plateau above with the deep valley below, which was separated by a sheer cliff over 360 meters high. With gradients reaching up to 10%, this is an extreme challenge for the braking system of any heavy truck. To climb the Cedar Mesa cliff, the road is a continuous series of winding turns. The hairpin bends are so tight that your vehicle seems to be suspended in mid-air. Between the sheer cliffs and the abyss, the only sound was the crunching of gravel under the wheels. Taroko Gorge Road. It is a road that cuts through Taroko Gorge with limited access and many popular tourist routes. Established in 1956, it was built mostly by veterans, former soldiers who once held rifles, now wielding hoes, shovels, sledgehammers, and hand drills. Using a method of drilling directly into the cliff face, creating tunnels and ledges to grip the rock face. Where drilling is not possible, ropes are lowered from the mountaintop to break the rock from above. This road is a symbol of the silent sacrifices of generations of veterans. Many of them have no family, no hometown, and consider Teroko their second grave. Currently, this section remains one of the most beautiful and dangerous roads in the world, frequently closed due to rock slides. Skipper's Canyon Road. Impossible Places originated during the 1860s gold rush in Shotover Valley. At that time, transporting heavy machinery deep into the canyon was an impossible task. The most astonishing aspect is that this road was carved almost entirely by hand using explosives and pickaxes. The engineers of that era faced the challenge of sheer slate cliffs. Rather than using explosives for total destruction, they hewed a ledge into the rock wall, providing sufficient clearance for carriages. The road was nestled between cliffs hundreds of meters high, with the turbulent Shotover River flowing below. A mistake of just a few centimeters could have meant tragedy. Kahekili Highway. As one of the world's most classic and terrifying cliffside roads, it's often referred to as Maui's Death Road. This road is not just a transportation route, but also a living testament to human audacity in conquering harsh terrain. Construction began in the 1930s, when technology was very rudimentary compared to today. The road was carved and dug deep into the rocky cliffs along the northern coast of West Maui, with sheer cliffs on one side and a chasm plunging straight down into the ocean on the other. There are no barriers on most of the dangerous sections, no guardrails, and many curves are at their most treacherous points. Originally, this road was probably just a local dirt path or dirt road, but it was upgraded to a paved road around the 1930s. Baybert Off-road, 915. Unlike modern roads designed using supercomputers, the D915 has a fiery and tumultuous origin. It was built by the Russian army in 1916 during the invasion of Trabzon, located in the Impossible Places. The most terrifying highlight of the D915 is the Solar Pass. Imagine facing 29 hairpin bends. The bends are so sharp that a normal truck would struggle to maneuver in a single turn. The lack of guardrails is the selling point of this path. A small mistake means a free fall of hundreds of meters into the abyss. Humans have had to conquer altitudes of over 2,000 meters above sea level by traversing sheer cliffs. Col du Chaussy, France. Imagine you're in the Maurienne Valley, looking up at a nearly vertical cliff, several hundred meters high. In 1900, people had only just begun to envision connecting these tiny highland villages, which back then were accessible only by mule tracks. Construction actually began in 1928, and it took 6 years to complete the 3-kilometer section stacked on top of each other. Remarkably, they had to carve into the almost vertical cliff face, creating retaining walls just wide enough for one vehicle. Workers toiled by hand, using explosives, shovels, wheelbarrows and ropes in the harsh alpine weather conditions. Now, smoothly paved, this road has turned into an iconic destination for bicycles, motorbikes, and adventurous car owners. But every time you drive past, you can still feel the daring of the builders nearly 100 years ago. They transformed a seemingly impenetrable cliff into a road that thousands of people admire every year. Combe Laval Road. One of France's most famous balcony roads. It's known for being carved directly into the limestone cliffs of the Vercors Massif. Located in the Drôme department, this route connects Saint-Jean-en-Royans with the Col du Chaussy Pass. Imagine the 1860s, no modern excavators, no GPS technology. Workers had to dangle on ropes between sheer cliffs to drill holes for explosives. The most distinctive feature of Combe Laval is that its sections are neither quite tunnels nor quite open air. On one side is a towering cliff, on the other, a deep abyss with a natural rock arch overhead. Baybert Pass. Built in the late 1800s, it was primarily to serve the Black Bear Mine, a silver, gold, and lead mine located in the Ingram Basin. At that time, Colorado was experiencing the peak of the San Juan Mountains' gold and silver rush. There was a need for a route to transport ore from the mines to lower elevations or to connect with other areas. The path runs along a sheer cliff hundreds of meters high above Bridal Veil Falls. The most notorious section is the narrow switchback right above the falls. The road was only wide enough for a jeep with a sheer cliff on one side and a chasm hundreds of meters deep on the other. This is a vivid example of the saying, "People can achieve anything when they have enough motivation." Milliondollar Highway. the 25-mile stretch of US 550 between the historic mining towns of Silverton and Ouray, Colorado. Famous as one of the most beautiful but also most dangerous roads in North America. The road winds through the San Juan Mountains with numerous hairpin bends and steep inclines. Some people claim that the cost of building or upgrading the road in the 1920s was as much as $1 million per mile. Legend has it that the earth and rocks used to build the road contained gold and silver ore worth millions of dollars. The name alludes to the stunning million-dollar views around the mountain ranges and valleys. There's a local joke that they wouldn't drive through here again even for $1 million, because the road is too dangerous. James W. Dalton Highway, dubbed one of the world's most legendary and challenging roads, it was built in Alaska, USA. It's not just a transportation route, but also a symbol of resilience in extreme conditions. The road, approximately 666 kilometers long, runs from Livengood all the way to Dead Horse near the Arctic Ocean and is mostly gravel. It was built mainly to support the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System and the vast oil extraction project at Prudhoe Bay. Launched in 1974 and finished in only 5 months, an incredible feat of speed, considering the scale and limitations. Most of the road is built on permafrost. They don't dig deep or use traditional foundations. Instead, a thick layer of soil and gravel is used as thermal insulation to keep the ground ice from melting. Trollsteigen. It wasn't simply an infrastructure project, it was a declaration of war against the terrain. Until 1936, only the boldest shepherds dared to navigate the steep and perilous tracks of this area. The decision to build a winding road through a sheer cliff with a 9% gradient in the early 20th century was a calculated risk. It demonstrates the Norwegians' forward-thinking vision for tourism and trade in the impossible places. Meanwhile, in a context where modern machinery was not yet widespread, much of the road was carved and built by hand. Workers had to hang themselves from cliffs to place each block of stone, creating sturdy retaining walls. In addition, every year, nature gifts them with avalanches destroying part of their hard work and forcing them to start over. Stelvio Pass. Located in northern Italy, it's the Eastern Alps' highest paved pass and the second highest in the entire Alps. Famous for its spectacular hairpin bends in South Tyrol. This is a dream destination for drivers, bikers, and cyclists, often referred to as the most amazing road in the world. The man behind this masterpiece was the Italian engineer Carlo Donegani, a true genius. He designed the road with 48 hairpin bends stacked on top of each other like giant steps clinging to the sheer cliff face. Construction took 5 years and employed 2,500 workers, a colossal number at the time. The curves were calculated with extreme precision so that the carriage could turn around without falling into the ravine. Los Caracoles Pass. Viewed from above, Los Caracoles looks like a giant spring that someone dropped into a ravine. The construction of this road was a real battle between civil engineering and Mother Nature. Engineers had to contend with altitudes exceeding 3,000 meters above sea level. At this altitude, the thin air reduces the efficiency of machinery and the endurance of workers. To navigate the sheer cliffs without the vehicles running out of steam, it was impossible to drive straight. Unlike modern bustling highways with tunnels through mountains, Los Caracoles retains a pristine and adventurous beauty. For a long time, this road was famous for its lack of safety barriers, requiring drivers to have nerves of steel. Atlantic Road. This is an 8.3-kilometer stretch of National Highway 64 connecting Avery to the mainland and includes 8 bridges. The construction process was a crazy but incredibly impressive story. Beginning in 1983, the project lasted 6 years instead of the shorter period planned due to the area being hit by 12 major storms. It had to be halted several times, equipment was swept away by waves, and workers had to be evacuated. This isn't the most dangerous road, but it's the most provocative of all civil engineering projects. The route is now free part of the Norwegian scenic routes and is still regularly maintained to withstand the Nordic weather. Shibban Cliff Road. Before the road was built, Thakbanha village was like an island in the sky. Surrounded by sheer limestone cliffs and deep ravines, the only means of connection for the locals is through narrow trails. What astonished experts was the construction method used in impossible places. In such extreme terrain, modern machinery was almost useless in the initial stages. The road wasn't built on the mountaintop or at the foot of the mountain, but carved deep into the side of the cliff. This required precise geological calculations to prevent mass landslides. It took many years of hard work, every meter of the road steeped in sweat and sacrifice. Today, this road has become a magnet for thrill seekers. Guolang Tunnel Road. In 1972, the village of Guolang was nestled atop a mountain, completely isolated. There is only one narrow path carved into the cliff for the villagers to get out a path where a single misstep means death. Then there were 13 men in the village who had no modern equipment, no budget, only sledgehammers, chisels, and an iron will. They chiseled away centimeter by centimeter through the hard rock of the nearly vertical cliff face. In total, they used 4,000 hammers, 12 tons of steel, and countless worn chisels. Without drills, electricity, or lights, they worked by hand under terrible conditions, and at least one person died during the construction. From a deadly isolated place, it has become a globally renowned tourist destination. It has been dubbed the road that doesn't forgive mistakes, or the most beautiful and dangerous tunnel on the planet. Tizzy and Test Pass. Built by the French in the 1920s to connect Marrakesh with the Sousse Plain. The road ascends to an altitude of approximately 2,093 meters. Imagine moving rudimentary machinery from a century ago up sheer cliffs where the air thins and the weather changes. The engineers chose not to avoid the obstacle. They chose to carve the path directly into the monolithic cliff face. The result is a narrow, winding strip of land with sheer cliffs on one side and a deep, unguarded ravine on the other. Along with those deadly curves, just a small mistake in steering or braking can cost you dearly. Karakorum Highway. This is the world's highest paved international highway, connecting Pakistan and China. Famous for its majestic natural landscapes and dubbed the eighth wonder of the world due to its challenging construction conditions. It is approximately 1,300 kilometers long, of which 806 kilometers are in Pakistan. Connecting Hassan Abdal with Kashgar in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Reaching a maximum altitude of 4,714 meters near Kunjarab Pass, the world's highest border crossing. At the same time, it is also a costly lesson about the price of development. Hundreds of families lost loved ones. Many workers were injured, all to connect two countries with a fragile strip of asphalt. Even today, the route is constantly blocked by landslides, flash floods, and moving glaciers, proving that nature has never truly given up. Furthermore, it is the strongest declaration of Sino-Pakistani friendship since the 20th century. And today, it is the most important part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. One trip down the KKH and you'll see why they call it a world wonder and the world's most beautiful death road. North Yungas Road. This road didn't begin with the flashy blueprints of modern urban engineers. It was built in the 1930s during the Chaco War. Paraguayan POWs were the ones who directly labored to chisel away at the vertical rock faces of the Andes Mountains. Imagine you're trying to carve a trench into a rock wall thousands of meters high. On one side is a sheer cliff, on the other, a chasm 600 meters deep, with no barriers, no roadside. Many sections are only about 3 meters wide, just enough for a truck to pass through. This is the only place in Bolivia where people drive on the left, so that drivers can see how close their wheel edges are to the abyss. Wukshi Cliff Road, also known as the Lanying Cliff Highway, it is a famous cliffside road. Famous for being located in the Lanying Grand Canyon in Wukshi County, Chongqing City, China. The road was carved by the villagers of Zhoujiaping themselves to connect their remote village to the outside world. Construction took approximately 15 to 20 years, beginning in the mid-1980s and completed in 2001. The road is approximately 1.2 kilometers long and carved directly into the sheer cliff face. It is extremely narrow, usually only wide enough for one vehicle to pass at a time. Located nearly 1,000 meters above the canyon floor, this spot offers spectacular views. You can drive from Chongqing to Wukshi County, then continue to the canyon entrance. Kolima Highway, connecting Magadan and Yakutsk. The road stretches approximately 2,000 kilometers through some of the coldest regions on the planet. The road is carved directly into sheer cliffs and permafrost. Construction on permafrost is an engineering nightmare. Imagine much of this road was built during the Stalin era using pick shovels and wheelbarrows. There were no modern excavators, just human strength battling hard rock and freezing temperatures. This road was built by prisoners of the Gulag re-education camp system. Due to the extremely harsh conditions and the ground frozen solid, like rock-digging graves, was impossible. Instead, the fallen prisoners were buried directly beneath or beside the road as it was being built up. Dortahel, Turkmenistan. Located in the Karakorum Desert of Turkmenistan, this massive man-made sinkhole has been leaking burning methane gas for decades. The Soviet authorities deliberately set it on fire, hoping it would burn out on its own within a few weeks, but nobody knows for sure. To get here, you'll have to cross hundreds of kilometers of vast desert with no cell phone signal and not a soul in sight. As the sun sets amidst the eerie silence of the Karakorum Desert, a blazing orange glow appears on the horizon. It's unlike any urban light. It's a primal and menacing light. This isn't just a fiery pit. It's a symbol of Soviet-era resource waste and of human adventure in facing hell. If I could go back, I'd still go down again, even if only to witness it one last time before it dies out. Would you dare? Danakil Depression, Ethiopia. If there's one place on Earth that makes people question whether they're still on the blue planet, it's the Danakil Depression. This region is not only one of the lowest places in the world, but is also known as the harshest place on the planet. Instead of the vibrant green of life, this place greets them with a surreal landscape of dazzling yellows and vibrant orange reds. Deep within lies a visual illusion of rising salt columns, bubbling acidic hot springs, and mineral formations resembling coral reefs on land. Behind this dazzling beauty lies a pungent, sulfurous smell and scorching heat, often hovering above 45 degrees Celsius. This is not a place to relax. This is a place to contemplate the extremes of nature. And this is definitely a journey for souls yearning for the primal, those who want to see the world in its most pristine and intense form. Deadvley, Namibia. To reach Deadvley, you must navigate deep shifting sand dunes, a challenge only four-wheel drive vehicles can handle. After walking about 1.1 kilometers, you'll find yourself in a pristine white clay basin, surrounded by the world's tallest, vibrant red sand dunes. The most haunting and captivating feature is the black, uncorroded tree trunks. It is a deadly, yet proud beauty, a testament to a time thousands of years ago when it was a lush green oasis. Be here at dawn to avoid the 40 degrees Celsius heat and catch the legendary golden light. Don't forget to bring high-top hiking boots to protect yourself from the hot sand and plenty of electrolyte water. And above all, walk slowly, because every step on this clay basin is like treading on the traces of millions of years of history. Socotra Island, Yemen. Nestled amidst the deep blue waters of the Indian Ocean, Socotra stands out unlike any other place. The first highlight upon arriving here is the Dragon's Blood tree on the Diksam Plateau. From a distance, they resemble giant inverted umbrellas or enormous mushrooms rising from the barren limestone. Don't forget the walk on the pristine white sand dunes here, where the towering sands create an extreme visual contrast. Without luxury hotels or dazzling neon lights in Socotra, you have to get used to camping and bathing by freshwater streams. This place makes you realize that the lack of modern amenities is actually its unique characteristic. It forces people to reconnect with nature and learn to listen to the island's rhythm. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Yemen is an island in the Indian Ocean, famous for its unique, alien-like landscape and extraordinary biodiversity. Dubbed the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean, due to its large number of endemic species with nearly 700 plant species. Stepping out of the 4x4, they were surrounded by a dazzlingly pure white landscape. Beneath your feet is not sand, but a thick, dry, and cracked layer of salt, arranged by the hand of a great architect. During the dry season, the only sound is the crunching of salt crystals underfoot. If you're lucky enough to visit during the rainy season, you'll witness a spectacular phenomenon. It's a thin layer of water covering the salt flat, turning the entire area into the planet's largest mirror. Chocolate Hills, Philippines. It is Bohol Island's most iconic landmark and a must-see destination for anyone exploring this spectacular land. It comprises over 1,200 conical hills stretching across numerous towns, creating a mesmerizing landscape. The most interesting thing that visitors realize is that the name Chocolate Hill didn't come about by chance. During the rainy season, the hills are covered in a lush green carpet of grass. However, when the dry season arrives from around January to May, that layer of grass withers and turns dark brown. From above, the more than 1,200 hills now look exactly like giant chocolate kiss candies placed on a vast green tray. To get the most panoramic view, you must overcome the challenge of climbing over 200 steps to the top of the observation deck. You should prepare a hat and jacket to protect yourself from the tropical sun, which can make you feel exhausted. Pamukkale, Turkey. In the Menderes River Valley, there's a wonder that makes anyone visiting for the first time rub their eyes in disbelief. With the Aegean sun shining brightly, that pristine white color isn't snow, but the result of millions of years of calcification. Before entering, you must remove your shoes, as this is a mandatory rule to protect the soft limestone formations. The higher you climb, the more surreal the Pamukkale landscape becomes, but what truly amazes visitors is not just the geology. Right at the top of those white steps lies the ruins of the ancient city of Hierapolis. You can immerse yourself in the crystal-clear water, swimming among the crumbling Corinthian columns at the bottom of the lake. Island of the Dolls, Mexico. It is a dark and eerie tourist spot, famous in the Xochimilco canals near Mexico City. This place is full of decaying dolls, hanging from the trees left behind by the previous caretaker. And the story behind the island is really sad, but also quite creepy. When you come here, you can walk around for 45 minutes to see the dolls and listen to the stories. Stepping deeper into the island, one feels a strange pressure. The dolls are no longer toys. They have been deformed by time, sun, wind, and mold into grotesque figures. Whether real or imaginary, the atmosphere here, thick with melancholy and sacredness, commands respect from everyone. Hand of the Desert, Chile. In one of the driest places on Earth, the Atacama Desert, stands a colossal rock sculpture known as the Desert Hand. Behind the Desert Hand is Chilean sculptor Mario Irrazabal, who created La Mano del Desierto, or the Desert Hand, in 1992. Although this sculpture is located quite far from any populated area, it's not difficult to find. Most visitors start by going to the nearest town, Antofagasta, about 72 kilometers from the site. From Antofagasta, you can take a shuttle or taxi south, which will take you directly to La Mano del Desierto. However, please remember to show respect and do not damage the sculpture by drawing or writing graffiti on it. This way, others can continue to admire its beauty for many years to come. Lake Hillier, Australia. At just 600 meters long, it impresses not only with its size, but also with the diversity of life within it. Lake Hillier captivates with its pink hue, and moreover, it's situated right next to the Pacific Ocean. Therefore, if you look from above, the contrast between the soft pink of the lake and the blue of the ocean is striking. It was first discovered in 1802 by navigator and cartographer Matthew Flinders, who sampled it from the lake and noted its existence. The reason for its unique color, although most suspect, it's related to the presence of the microalgae Dunaliella salina. The pale pink color is less noticeable when viewed from the surface, but is very distinct when viewed from above. However, unlike other pink lakes around the world, the lake's water retains its distinctive pink color for several years. Sedlec Ossuary, Czech Republic. Just outside Prague, in a small town called Kutna Hora, lies the world-famous bone church, also known as the Sedlec Bone Church. This place has a very creepy connection inside the bone church, which has gold skull and crossbones decorations on the roof. It houses the remains of 70,000 people, and it's essentially a pile of bones that's been elaborately and exquisitely decorated. In the 14th century, the Black Death spread to Europe, killing many people. Many others died in battles, leading to so many people being buried in this cemetery that it began to become overcrowded. Gathered in the 1800s, each skeleton was stacked by a single woodcarver. These skeletons belong to people who wish to be buried in holy ground. Aokigahara Suicide Forest, Japan. Also known as Aokigahara Jukai, it is a dense forest located at the northwest foot of Mount Fuji. Spanning approximately 13.5 square miles, the forest is renowned for its natural beauty, formed from volcanic eruptions. Despite its peaceful appearance, Aokigahara is notorious as the suicide forest. where many have taken their own lives. It is surrounded by countless natural wonders, further enhancing its mystique and allure. Not only is the vegetation unusually dense, but some areas are so thick that even during heavy rain, you can't feel a single drop. Furthermore, the lava rocks give Aokigahara a strangely tranquil atmosphere. Combine that with the dense vegetation and trees, and you'll have a place that's eerily quiet, but also very easy to get lost in. Mono Lake, Tufa Towers, California. The first thing that catches your eye here isn't the water, but a space so silent you can hear the wind whistling through the rocks. The lake's surface is a deep blue, calm and smooth like a mirror, yet it has a salinity 2 to 3 times that of the ocean. These limestone formations rising from the water resemble abandoned fairy tale castles or giant coral reefs of a dried-up ocean. Formed entirely underwater, when calcium-rich freshwater springs combine with carbonate-rich lake water. The lake is characterized by a slight sulfurous smell due to geological activity and bacteria, but you'll soon get used to it. These tufa poles are very fragile, so please walk on the marked trails to help preserve the beauty of this place. It's for souls seeking uniqueness, a touch of solitude and admiration for the creative power of nature. Blood Falls, Antarctica. It's one of the most sought-after hiking trails, only allowing 64 people or 16 groups to hike each day. It can take years to obtain a permit to hike to this unique location. This is one of the unique trails that crosses rugged landscapes in both Utah and Arizona, on the way to the famous Wave Rock. The Wave Trail starts between Kanab, Utah and Page, Arizona, about an hour's drive from each. Also, if you're doing it in the summer, be sure to start early. Bring plenty of water, and temperatures here can reach hundreds of degrees. The Wave, Arizona, USA. The first impression upon seeing the rock formations is one of awe. The Navajo sandstone formations curve rhythmically like ribbons of silk, creating a visual effect despite their complete stillness. Depending on the time of day, the colors shift from burnt orange and vibrant red to pale pink and creamy yellow. The most beautiful moment is at midday, when the sunlight shines vertically, dispelling shadows and illuminating every corner. This place is the hardest to get to in the world, not because of the roads, but because of the entrance fee. The extremely strict lottery system for geological preservation makes holding that permit feel like winning the lottery. And there are no clear trails. You'll have to navigate using GPS and pictorial maps. Just a few missteps on the rocks, and you'll find yourself lost in the sweltering heat of the wilderness. Vinicunca Rainbow Mountain, Peru. Rainbow Mountain is a stunning natural destination located in the Andes Mountains of Peru. The mountain is named after the vibrant colors that adorn its slopes, ranging from red and pink to green, yellow, and blue. Rainbow Mountain is relatively accessible, making it a popular destination for tourists and hikers. If you are looking for tour links, please note this in the description below. This mountain is part of the Ayaditi mountain range areas that are sacred to the indigenous Khitan people. Believed to possess spiritual power, despite their long history, these colorful mountains were only recently discovered in 2013. Previously, they were completely covered in snow, but with the impact of climate change, the true color of the mountain has been revealed. The color is due to the different mineral compositions. Pink comes from red clay, mud sand, and limestone, rich in calcium carbonate. Prepare yourself to notice. A sudden change in air density makes breathing easier. Easter Island, Chile. The first thing you notice upon stepping off the plane at Mataveri Airport isn't the tropical heat, but an eerie silence. As the sun gradually rose behind the 15 colossal statues, their shadows stretched long across the ground. Walking among hundreds of unfinished statues, some buried deep in the ground, felt like being lost in a construction site of giants. Additionally, Anakina Beach is one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen, with its fine white sand. Don't come here if you're looking for the hustle and bustle of luxury resorts. Come with a curious mindset, good walking shoes, and a heart ready to be moved by ancient heritage. Death Valley, US. Death Valley is a geological depression located primarily in Inyo County, southeastern California, United States. This is the lowest, hottest, and driest part of the North American continent. Coming here means experiencing a walk across pristine white salt fields cracked into elongated hexagonal shapes. The white color of the salt contrasts sharply with the clear blue sky, creating a perfect backdrop for photography enthusiasts. Don't miss the sunrise here as the first rays of light touch the undulating mountain ranges, illuminating the entire valley. The landscape here looks more like the surface of another planet than Earth. As the name suggests, the mountains here are pink, green, purple, and yellow due to the oxidation of the minerals. Despite its beauty, Death Valley is not a place to take risks. It offers some truly grueling experiences. At times, temperatures can reach nearly 50 degrees Celsius, feeling like a giant hairdryer is constantly blowing directly into your face. In areas like the Mesquite Flat sand dunes, if you stand still, you can hear your own heartbeat.